Did you? You good?
Yeah, well, got a table? Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Carla. Kelly.
Here.
Judy. Here. Lizzie. Here. Jeff.
Here.
Laura. Here.
Allegiance to the
flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we'll go into public participation.
Yeah, I have some. I didn't state my name or anything.
Yes.
Does
Yes,
it
please.
make sense? I'm gonna read from this because I'll forget what you know what to say. I've chosen to speak today to address an issue of requesting public records. Over the course of 2024, I've sent only 3 public record requests. September 11th, to which I never received an acknowledgement or response from. October 18th, that I finally received the information that I requested on December 11th after 48 days. And lastly, on December 4th, to which I didn't receive an acknowledgement, and upon following up, I was told it would likely be 60+ days before I received the public records that I requested. Each time I'm pushed off and treated as if my requests are unimportant. I feel as if the way I'm treated doesn't align with the employee handbook or the laws related to public records. I will say that there are multiple email exchanges to the public record request between myself and the village of nonsense to attempt to not provide the requested documentation, and I could quote the laws in response so that we can move forward where this is just unnecessarily prolonging the process. My hopes in addressing the council today and speaking out is that the village of Camden will start acknowledging and responding to all public record requests within a reasonable amount of time as the law defines. I am hoping that the council and the village's record custodians will take the time to educate themselves on the Ohio Sunshine Laws, as I have to quote the laws repetitively for them to be followed. While I'm here, I'm going to request that all of the recordings dated back to July 1st of the council meetings are to be posted to the village website before the end of this year, as this was already council approved to happen in a June council meeting, but hasn't. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
I have a question.
Yeah.
You stated reasonable time. What's your definition of that?
The Ohio Sunshine Laws actually
I
has
can
the
understand what you
definition.
said.
The Ohio Sunshine Laws actually has a definition of it, a reasonable amount of time. You do have to take multiple things into an account.
Which are?
The time that it takes to get to the documentation and pull it and make a copy
Then
of
how does
it.
one prioritize that in your view?
It does not matter your work duties.
Say again?
Your work duties aren't taken into account.
Well,
That matter, it
if
does,
you're a
according
one-horse
to the
operation,
laws of
I
Ohio, that
think
doesn't
they
matter.
I
are.
beg to differ because invoices have to be paid, payroll has to be done.
Yeah, but according to the law.
Excuse me,
I'm sorry.
but, there are things that she has to do on a daily basis. And I'm looking at an invoice that has 1, 2, like 4 or 5 public records requests, all from November. So,
You're not the only one.
yeah, we're inundated right now with public records requests.
Understood, but they should all be acknowledged and they're not. It's a lawsuit.
Thank you, and I'll make sure that all of them are acknowledged.
Thank you.
And we do, I've seen that there was a question on why some of them is being redacted from, the lawyer. Some of them are redacted because there's account numbers on there for the bank accounts and so forth that
Understood.
can't be given out in public.
Understood.
So,
That response is appreciated.
okay.
She does have a valid point though.
And so
Although
do
she
we.
has, I mean, I, as a sitting council member, I put in a record request 86 days ago. So in the past, as you guys love to bring up past fiscal officers' operations, is 30, 60, 80+ days reasonable if you were trying to get a record request? Because she does have a valid point.
Well,
I
absolutely.
think if you can't get a record request within 30 days, I mean, mean, she has plenty of, the person that does her records gets plenty of overtime hours.
Well, she has helped now that will assist in some of that.
Well, I hope it does,
So,
for her sake and mine.
any other? Nothing? Okay, we'll take a,
You want to? It's up to you.
You brought it. You got it.
you like that?
Nothing here, water and sewer guy. Part-time. Yeah. I was speaking with Kelly there just now, I mean, when you have the voted employees, you know the voted employees you have. And I know that, when we talked about where, sick leave computation, about, when you're not here, okay, like vacation, comp time, you're off, and, you know, you're finding out out there, a lot of towns, not all of them, a lot of times they're gonna take that computation away, you know, specifically while you're on vacation, and that's, but taking a look in, then I was trying to explain to Judy also about, I explained it there in my letter. You know, back in the, you wanna cover your employees' time, you want your employees to cover their time, they're responsible to be here, you know, 40 hours a week. That was the reason why they started giving out comp time, where, you know, it's earned time on overtime, and you get 40 hours, you bank it, let's say you have catastrophe, your wife has a baby, you're now on FML.
That is a catastrophe.
Pardon me?
When your wife has a baby, that's a catastrophe.
Okay.
That's what you said.
But anyway, you have that time banked in case you're losing out, and say you had a tech that took up for sick leave, now you got comp time to fall back. I, to my knowledge, I think each employee's insured by your insurance, and because they're full-time employees, we wanna make sure their 40-hour weeks are covered. You know, and that's why you bank the comp time, you know, and you have the sick leave, cause they had to pull from, to make sure they got 40 hours in that week and every week after.
Yeah, I don't think the 40 hours a week is necessarily to keep your benefits current.
Yeah.
It can be through a catastrophe. And, you know. Yeah.
I'm not-
If they're clocked in, they're covered.
Excuse me?
If they're clocked in, they're covered on insurance. Or if they report to work, I mean, some.
Well, I know they're covered, yes, they're covered for workers' comp and all that, I'm just saying that, you know, your insurance supplier is counting on the village to have these guys full-time, and full-time, of course, is 40 hours a week.
Right.
And you just wanna make sure you have all that time covered by having these resources to pull from, you know, make sure they get the 40 hours in every week.
Right.
But,
Well, I think the stipulation for 40 hours is when you're hired in as a full-time employee.
correct,
If something happens and you don't get your 40 hours, you're not gonna lose your insurance benefits. That's not the way, because you're still a full-time employee. Just because there was a catastrophe or something happened, doesn't mean you're not a full-time employee. That's the basis. It doesn't, you know, if you don't get your 40 hours for whatever reason, you know, that's not going to affect your employment status. It won't affect your insurance either.
How do you feel it would trigger a problem with the insurance? Cause I don't understand all this.
well, I'm not saying you're figure a problem, I'm just saying, you want your employees doing 40 hours a week, and that's why you have those resources. But, you know, comp time, of course, is time earned from overtime. Okay, you limit to 40, keep on the books, right? That's probably the number one, bank that most employees will do first before they take it and pay. They like to have that comp time. Because there are emergencies come around, they may not get sick, you know, they may not be able to give a notice for vacation, so now you have comp pay you can run out and use, you know. That's the purpose of that comp time, to have handy.
I understand that, and that's valid, everybody would like to have that. But right now, if everybody took off or quit, we go over $100,000 in the present comp time. One person has 700 hours, I don't call that.
We don't pay them 700 hours, you only pay them a portion of that, 25%,
But if they quit, no, 25%, what's that?
that's 1/4 of whatever hours they have to pay.
You mean to tell me we're not on the hook for the whole amount?
I was under.
I don't know the details of the employees.
We were always told the only time that it was reduced is if they left to go to work
That's what he's saying.
for another municipality. But if they just quit,
They get the full benefit.
if they don't, if they're not in, a public, if they go work for a private entity, then we owe that money.
Well, you should, that would be one thing on your employee manual that I think I would change.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
When I was at Cedarville, back in,
Right to, yeah.
in 1990.
A lot of places have,
It's
have
basically.
how much you can bank.
Yeah, well, as employees of the public works, it's basically taken with them, to their new employment if they're in public works. That's acceptable, throughout the state.
A certain, up to a certain, they can't take it all, they can only take it.
Well,
depending on-
they can, it depends on the arrangement made between their new employer.
Right, typically
Take
when
care.
people quit, there's a cap on how many hours you can bring with you.
Yeah, I never experienced that with my changes, but I never have. But that was there with the employer.
Because we ran into that with a few people that have left, that
Who's we?
the village
Okay.
has run into that with other people. And it happens a lot with the police officers, because they get paid the same amount of time that you do. So that's where we're most familiar with it. Because a lot of them will wanna bring X amount of hours with them, and they can't. Or when they leave, they can only take so many hours with them to go to other municipalities for.
But those that have banked it will get to keep it, right? It's
Yeah,
not
they
going
will
away.
keep it.
That's what I-
And we're not gonna reduce
No.
that.
They would be paid for it if they've got a bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't go.
You're hoping the employment is not only lucrative enough, but attractive enough to maintain.
I hear you. Look, I just
Till
want to
retirement.
say this, and I think Rusty,
I think we're being compensated very well. I mean,
I can't think of a time that any of the employees have not came to council, you included, all of them, that at least, I'm speaking for me, I'm speaking for anybody else, that we have always tried to honor their requests, whether it's for wages, benefits, equipment, you name it. There's never been one time we tried to pull the rug out from under you guys on anything.
Nope, I agree,
Okay,
I agree.
I beg to differ there.
well, I wanna hear it.
When I was hired in, Larry Hickman was on council. They hired me in for $14 an hour. And you guys paid me $12 an hour. Larry was sitting on this council, and he told you it's $14 an hour. I never got any back pay.
See, it's all news to me.
Kelly, you're the one that did it. Reason
Why am
being-
I hearing about 20 years later?
Well, that's the problem too.
Well, did you bring it to somebody's attention?
I brought it to all your guys' attention, it was on council at that time, and Kelly said, you work another 3 months and we'll give you another $1, and then you work another 3 months and we'll give you another $1. It took me forever to get up to where I was supposed to be when I got hired. And it was a year and a half or so before we made it hired, and I come to council and I said, if you're gonna hire me, you're gonna hire me, or I'm going elsewhere. So, I can't jive with what you said there.
Well, then,
Cause you
with the
can,
exception of that, lightning bolt, I've no other, I mean, that's it, anything, any equipment, any tools, anything, facilities, you name it.
Yeah.
Council has always supported what has been requested,
we try,
And if
sometimes we can't.
yeah, I mean, within reason, so that's not gonna change. The only thing I think that's only fair to people that are paying your salaries is that I think we gotta cap this thing that we're talking about, because that's just 130 or 40,000, and it's more than 100.
You got to cash out?
Mhm.
Yeah, what, like sick time, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
Second
big
vacation.
figure,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You catch up.
I mean, you only get 240 hours anyway after 10 years, right?
I don't know.
That's what it is, it's 240 hours after 10 years. Before 10 years, you don't get anything if you leave. You don't get anything.
I just don't want the village taxpayer to be on the hook for a big payout when maybe it's not impossible if we could be in a financial position that we couldn't pay. Right now, it's not that way.
Yeah.
But I just don't like that. And then the whole compensation thing about how
Was that
overtime is sharing. Other than that,
We're not taking away sick leave, you're still there sick leave.
but but I would like to see
The same
things.
amount of sick leave.
There's nothing in here to indicate there's a change to sick leave.
4.6 hours per pay period, 26 pay period, it's like 120 hours a year.
Except
And it
at
carries
the
over.
end of
Yes.
the year, there's.
At
The
right
new-
now,
the new program
if
will
we
have
don't
that.
use
Carry
it,
over. The new program has. to
yeah, if
carry
we don't
over.
use it, we carry it over, and generally, nobody uses all of it, we just carry it
I
over.
think now we're gonna pay you out though, after, is that not right?
Look on-
Up to 40 hours of sick leave may be carried over each year.
See, that makes no
Or the
sense to
employee
me,
can cash out sick time at the end of the year.
because you pay out 240 hours after 10 years.
That has to be
If we get
discussed.
120 hours a year, we can carry over 40, that leaves 80 hours. No one's gonna leave 80 hours of
You're
paid
not-
sick time on the table.
You're
And
not-
in 3 years, you've paid out 240 hours.
You're getting
In
it,
10 years, you've paid out 800 hours.
you're getting it cashed out.
It's 25%.
No, that hasn't been voted on.
No one's
If
gonna
that
leave
goes
80
into
paid
effect,
hours on the
it's-
table.
it's
They're gonna
It's
use
more
it.
discussion, that's what we're doing.
I mean, if there's 80 paid hours, you can carry over 40. No one's gonna leave 80 hours on the table. They're gonna use them. We come to work with a headache, we come to work with a cold, whatever, they're gonna take those days. And then in 3 years, at 80 hours a year, you've paid out 240 hours of sick pay, which you wouldn't pay out in 10 years. I'm sure you're gonna use a few along the way. But then in 10 years, you've paid out 800 hours.
Well, I'm all ears on all this, cause I'm, this kind of pay stuff is freaking me. One thing I would like to throw in there, you know about catastrophes. If you guys are allowed to bank so many hours, I would like for you to be able to share hours. Let's say somebody gets really sick and you've got a bunch of hours and they
I
don't.
agree with that.
Yeah, I would
Yes.
love to see that shareable.
Yep, I agree with that.
Because I think
If
that's.
somebody runs out and they're really sick and has no more time, I agree with that.
Yeah, I would like to see that, if that's possible for us to do that, because you read about those things where people.
So if you only get 40 hours come the next year, that's not possible for us to give hours to somebody.
Well, I think this is all for discussion, I mean, we.
Yeah.
Right. No, it's not.
I just-
You're carrying 40 hours over, but you're gonna earn
You're still
more
earning sick
hours.
time.
Yeah, but at the beginning of the next year, you're only gonna have 40.
Every year,
So
you're
what
gonna
if you
have
get
40
sick
hours.
and somebody else needs
What
some
if you break
time?
a leg and you're off 5 or 6 weeks?
You're
You
out.
got 40 hours.
You won't have the time.
I
to
mean, nobody uses it all, that's why they wind up with 600 hours or 700
If you're
hours.
off 5 or 6 weeks, your 80 hours isn't uncovered either, Dave.
Do what now?
If you're saying 80 hours, if you're off 5 or 6 weeks, 80 hours not gonna cover that either.
No, you got 40, January 1, say we get 40 hours.
Yeah.
January 3, I break a leg and I'm off 6 weeks. I don't have any sick.
What do you guys want? What do you think's a fair?
I would like to just leave it alone.
We don't
We can't
use
leave
sick
it alone
time
because we
unless
can't
we're
afford the
sick.
payout.
What's
We can put a
240
cap in
hours?
there.
And
We
see,
can put a cap in there that says that if you're gonna do a payout for any reason, we're only paying a maximum of such and such hours, 200 hours or whatever. Like, put a cap on
I'd
it
be
and
fine
then
with
leave it
that.
alone.
It's already there after 10 years. Before 10 years, if you leave, you get nothing. After 10 years, you get 240 hours. I mean, if you wanna change that to 100 hours or whatever.
I just wanna avoid this big liability,
Absolutely.
that's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
And I would like to see if anyone's, this is just me, I would like to see us start paying down that liability a little bit at a time. Instead of.
one check.
Starting now, kind of winding that down.
Because right now, if you get hurt for a long extended period of time, and even if the FMLA covers it, it only covers what, 65% of your pay? But if they have the hours on sick, let it rotate and roll over, and then they can use that and live off of it, rather than be terrified and not get a surgery done because they can't afford to live on 60 hours.
If you're getting paid out at the end of the year for the sick time that you have,
But you only have 40 hours.
okay, no, you get to carry over 40 hours.
So you would get paid for like 100 and, what is it, 100, a year's worth
What I'm
of.
get
saying is if we're
120 a
paying
year.
you, that's money that you can put in the bank to cover when you're off work.
But it would I feel like it would cost us more in the long run to just pay it out every year than it would be to just leave it alone and take the chance of them
If you leave
maybe
it
not
alone,
using
you
it.
pay out 240 hours.
You just don't know what that
No,
entails.
we have
Because if
to,
we're gonna pay 100 hours for every single one of these first people, that's a lot of money every year that we have to shell out, and we're already, how many times have we brought it up that we're in the hole?
So what about this guy that's already got 700 hours?
If he gets cashed out and he was working
Still
10
only
years.
gets 240
He gets 240.
in 10, after 10 years. If he leaves before 10 years, he doesn't get it done.
So if that's kinda how we've always played it, then put it in writing.
I mean, that's the way the old manual reads. You don't get it done until after 10 years, then you get 240, a max of 240. But like I said, if you carry over 40 every year, if that's all you're allowed to carry over, then there's 80 hours left. And like I said, no one's gonna leave 80 hours paid sick time on the table, they're gonna use it. And in 3 years, you've used 240. And if the guy stays 10 years, you've paid him 800 instead of 240.
All I care about is this huge accumulation of hours in the payout. The rest of this to me is all negotiable. I want you guys happy, but I wanna be comfortable on this side with what our potential liability is. That's really my test.
I think just
My understanding was not, you had to wait 10 years to get your payout.
you have to be here 10 years in
Your
order to
comp
get.
time and all that.
Comp time is just 1 week of overtime. It's not nothing earned, it's overtime we worked, that we just stuck over here, 40 hours of it, just for a rainy day, or for, like Nelson said, for a day off.
Now, is that the one that's got 700 hours in it?
No, comp time is a max of 40.
Yeah.
It's 1 week,
1 week.
and it's hours we actually worked, we just bank those
It's a
For-
time now.
for a day off
Yeah,
or whatever.
But you can't have more than 40.
Huh?
Right.
But you
No,
can't have
it's a
more-
max of 40, 1 week.
Yeah.
And then, as far as vacation time, I mean, is that gonna stay the same? Can you carry your vacation time?
Cause the new draft doesn't have a specification on carrying over vacation.
It has, well, of course, none of this has been, it says, employees will accrue vacation according to the following schedule: 1 to 7 years, 80 hours.
Yeah.
8 to 14 years, 120 hours.
Right.
15 to 24 years, 160 hours. 25 plus years, 200 hours. Vacation.
Does that start at the beginning of the year?
Well, it's like the sick time.
It's hard day, it's a day you're in.
Was the vacation use it or lose it, is that your question?
Right, it isn't now. Right now, we can carry it
Yeah,
over.
so what is, that, to me, that's an open-ended liability, just like the,
Well, sometime if it's maxes out at 250 or whatever.
it is not.
There's nothing in here saying that their vacation pay is, you know,
I mean, typically, in the private sector, you're usually allowed to carry over a week, you're allowed to carry over 40 hours.
You know, it's tough.
After that,
Or paid.
or you get paid out
Yeah.
for it.
No, I think, do you think that's fair?
No.
What do you want?
I mean, I see where you guys are coming from. You don't wanna wind up with 1,100 hours of vacation time, then somebody leaves and you gotta
Right.
get all that.
That's right.
I get that.
Right.
But I think we should be allowed to carry more than 40 hours.
What do you want?
So like me and Dave, we get 3 weeks a year. I don't know.
so you wanna
Well,
carry
think
over
about
3 weeks?
You wanna
I
carry
don't know
over, but
if
if
you
you
wanna
do-
carry over.
If you get a payout, what do you think, like, when it comes to you saying, hey, I don't wanna work here anymore, I want a payout, what do you think is reasonable?
You should get paid out for what you had, as far as vacation.
We wanna try to, we wanna try to.
The cap, maybe 3 times the annual, allowance, 3 times the annual
I
allowance.
mean, I'll just say, you know, my experience is in the private sector.
See, that's the difference between private and public. Private has profit, public has service.
And I
And we answer
understand that.
to a taxpayer and
Yeah, we
they
have
answer to a
taxpayers,
shareholder.
Yeah,
But
so it's like a business, we have, yeah.
So do you think if payouts 3 weeks, or 3 times a yearly,
So that would be 9 weeks,
I mean, is that fair?
so you'd be allowed to carry 9 weeks.
I just threw that out there.
No, I got you.
Well, I think that's a little rich.
I got you.
I mean, I think it's a little rich.
Next week.
From my standpoint, I think like 4 or 5 weeks would be a lot to hold on to. That'd be a month or more than a month. But I just want to, if you want to accumulate a certain amount of weeks, that's fine with me, I get it.
About the vacation carryovers, it's gonna come the holidays, you know, you only have 3 guys working, so you may lose them, and then you're gonna have a problem in the village where you're gonna have to have them.
I can see carrying over 2 weeks, maybe 80 hours, but more than that,
When it comes holidays.
I think
you
what
know,
we're
have
talking
You
about-
can pick
snows in
your
the
holidays,
town.
for holiday, you get holiday pay.
I know that.
Even if he wants to plan
You
a
want
cruise
the
with
guys
his
there.
wife, you know,
Well,
Tyler's
they-
not gonna be able to.
To me, the upside of this coin is in lieu of higher wages, I want them to have the benefits that maybe make them happy, that we are.
Yeah.
So what, the 8
Yeah.
weeks, that's just 2 months, that should be plenty. Is
To
that
carry
fair?
over, so you can't carry no more than 8 weeks, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, would that be
I
my
think that's
suggestion, is
rich.
it fair?
I
Is
think
that a
it
good
would.
middle ground?
Weeks, that's 2 months that you can.
I think that's rich, I would like, to- me personally, I would say 4 or 5 weeks, but I wanna see you guys paid out anything above that.
There's gotta be a middle ground
So,
here.
What about
So
6
if you
weeks?
Carry over 8 weeks.
The 6 weeks.
and
Six-
then you're on
If we can
Wednesday,
carry
get
over
3 weeks
6
vacation.
weeks, then anything over 6 weeks we get paid out for.
Okay.
Okay, what about you?
That's supposed to be 11 weeks.
That's true.
So, I mean, what would be a fair,
Well, he said 6 weeks, he
He's
likes
suggesting
6.
6 weeks, I was asking Tyler and Dave what they thought.
That's fine, with me. I never had that much
What about you,
anyway.
Trina, 6 weeks seem like fair?
Yeah, typically we use them anyway.
You're gonna use them before you get paid.
Typically, we're not gonna carry more than that anyway,
yeah.
if you're gonna take, you know,
The things come up though that you don't go someplace, I mean, maybe single family, you're
Yeah.
gonna stay working in the
They're
same
using
state.
all that they can.
But yeah,
They just want the option in case they wanna take one of their wives on a cruise.
That's right.
But you're saying now, no, do any of you have 6 weeks of vacation accumulated? You do?
probably, close to it, probably.
Okay.
You guys have the paperwork.
Well, I mean, I don't know, I'm just trying to.
And anything over that, we would just get paid out for.
They're just planning to do paying out in the year?
so what you're saying is you would just carry a max of 6 weeks.
Max of 6 weeks.
That would include your 3 weeks that you're gonna get at the end of the year, plus your 3 weeks you're carrying over, that would be your max. Anything beyond that, you're getting paid out for. Well, that's exactly what Kelly was saying.
Yes.
Is it done at the beginning of the year?
Or whenever you're on,
Whenever
your hiring date, when it begins and ends is whatever the day is. It's your calendar year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not, so we're not carrying 6 weeks over from one year to the next, so then they have 9 weeks.
Right.
You'll have a total of 6 weeks.
At any time, there's no more.
Then at the end of at your anniversary date,
But, you know, your
at your
vacation.
anniversary date, you can get paid out for what you haven't used.
But you know, your vacation is computed pay period.
It is.
It's computed pay for.
Well, I don't care. I mean-
It's not at the beginning of the year you get that.
That's fine, but it's at your anniversary date.
Right.
We just say the beginning of the year because it
Yeah.
simplifies things. But it's just from your anniversary, if that makes it simpler, from your anniversary date, you can carry over 3 weeks, you get paid out for the rest, then you still have your 6 weeks vacation.
But you won't have it at the beginning of that anniversary date because.
You'll have your 3 weeks at your anniversary date that you've carried over.
The other 3 you'll earn.
Then the rest
Throughout
of
the
the
year.
The other three you earn throughout the year.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
But you're short of 6.
That's not the way it was.
No, what I'm thinking is that when you hit your anniversary date, there's not this earning. When you hit your anniversary date, your hire date, you get the 3 weeks, the 4 weeks, the 5 weeks, there, boom.
On your anniversary date.
On your
So
anniversary.
you wanna do away with 4.6% or whatever it is. You just want, on your anniversary date, you get those 3 weeks for the year.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's the same difference, you just get it now instead of earning it throughout the year. I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
No, and then you
As a
just
matter of
carry.
fact, that's a better situation
Well,
for
it's better
us.
for you guys.
Yes,
We
I have
just
a
wanna
problem
put
with
a cap on it, so if you have 3 weeks and you wanna carry it over.
And on your anniversary date, you get the other 3, so you'll have 6.
Yeah,
But you need to use 3 of those or get paid out before your next anniversary.
yes.
I get you.
That sounds fair,
No,
reasonable.
that sounds you guys.
Yes.
What else?
Personal days, we still get our 2 personal days.
I don't see anything in here about personal days, so
We've always got 2 personal days,
a year or a month or.
A year.
a week.
a year.
You gotta use them by the end of the year.
Yeah, those are use them or lose them.
Yeah.
They've always been
December
use them or
31st?
lose them. Do what?
And those are
By
paid,
December 31st.
those paid?
Yes.
Two paid personal days?
I would say the biggest thing is the, comp time, but we haven't talked about that, so.
Yes, yeah.
Let's do it.
Probably
What was your suggestion for comp time?
Just leave it alone.
I don't understand
I thought
the
you
days
said
stuff.
that you could only count, we could only count up to 40 hours, what you said.
It's just,
It's 40 hours.
it's overtime worked, it's not earned, it's overtime worked. So if we work 4 hours tomorrow night and 4 the next night or whatever, instead of getting paid out for that overtime, we stash that in comp time, we're allowed.
If you're under 40.
Yes,
If you're under 40.
we put that in there till we reach 40. Once we reach 40, then we're paid out the overtime. It's just banking an extra week is all it is, a week of paid time.
Yeah, that's,
Okay, that's not unreasonable.
Alright, what else?
For the employees or for handbook?
Handbook employees, whatever.
We're not doing it about every day.
Well, this gonna have to be rewritten then based
Yeah.
on the stuff that.
Well, that's fine.
The reason I asked is because I've made notes about things that was missing that I was very concerned about. So I didn't know if we were gonna discuss.
Are those your primary things
I
that
can't
you?
take notes into the.
Pretty much.
I don't know what else really.
So anything like.
As far as that's, as far as what I know about,
Yeah.
that's what I have.
We won't do anything until.
What else might you add?
So. Okay, then I didn't want to interrupt.
Do what?
Did you and Kelly finish off?
Yes.
Alright, so, I went through the 2002 handbook and the draft handbooks, both of them. And I found some things that were cut out that I was concerned about. Section 3.2, position classification of the 2002 handbook was cut. Section 311, call-in pay for hourly workers, and 312 for garnishment and child support of the 2002 handbook had been cut out. Those are important. Section 4.2 through 4.6 of the article, for discipline of the 2002 handbook had been cut. Section 7.9 maternity leave had been cut. Section 9 benefits, a section dedicated to PERS and insurance had been cut. Section 9.1 on PERS and OP and F contributions was cut from the 2002 handbook. Article 11 on retirement had been cut down. Section 14.4, paragraphs 1 and 3 regarding drug and alcohol on premises was cut. And so, there was, I mean, it says you can't consume it, but we cut out the stuff that said that it wasn't allowed on government property, which seems strange to cut, because it was always in there. And I wanted to suggest that we make notations on any rules that differ when it comes to like police department, if any of their stuff is different, because they're like overtime, if it's 5 minutes before clock out, they can't just clock out and leave a car accident. So any rules that may be different for like the police officers versus them or office employees, we should make sure there's a notation.
I don't understand what you're saying.
That doesn't.
So like, just if there's anything that's different from how we do things that are different rules for certain employee categories versus others, I just wanna make sure that there is a notation.
On garnishment, that's something that we're required to do, so whether it's in the
Yes,
handbook or not, when
it's
somebody
not.
gets garnished, we have to pay it, we have to do it.
It should just be in the
Yeah, but
book,
it's-
even if it's mandatory, to cut it out seems a
But
little
it's the law,
redundant, correct?
so we don't need to, that's why we chose not to.
But
put it in
a
the
lot
book.
of people don't specifically know all these laws until they look at their handbook. And so having it in the handbook is beneficial for employees. On page 14 of the draft handbook and page 26, they talk about a timekeeping system. As far as I know, the office doesn't have a timekeeping system, so if you don't have one,
We like to
we
get
should
one,
have
that's the
one.
point, yeah.
If it's in here, we need to have it, cause it says not to write down times, but that's the only way they can do it right now.
I'll make a motion, we get one.
On page 15, it talks about work assignments. When I looked into the labor laws, it says that you cannot make a lower salary employee do the job of a higher paid salary employee. And so the wording needs to be adjusted on that so that it reflects the law. clarification of any rules that are backed up by laws for clarification, should probably put that law noted in that rule of like per labor law such and such, for example.
But
That way
that's
people-
typically not how handbooks are written.
Well, on the original one from 2002, there are certain spots that do have that notation.
Because
Here and there.
Because they copied it from, that was a copy from another municipality.
And the rough draft of that 2022 that I think I gave you a copy of, we had someone do that for us, we did not draw that up ourselves.
I understand that, you guys had a company, these are just suggestions that I think would make our employee handbook more professional for a municipality versus a small business or a factory or a hotel, like these are, we're a municipality, we need to be more governmental.
The company that wrote this up, that's what they do, is they write them for municipalities.
Anyway, the draft handbook has an entire section dedicated to breastfeeding, but you guys cut out section 7.9 on maternity leave. And so it kind of seems a little odd to have breastfeeding but not maternity leave for people, so we should probably put that back in there. Section 4.4 of the 2002 handbook states no alcohol on the grounds. I already mentioned that. I think that should be on there since other municipalities do that. And there was on page 27 of the draft handbook, it talks about a dress code. I had a suggestion for paid employees that in the future, that their dresses and skirts should be below the knees. Also, it calls them spandex, but anybody born after the 80s calls them leggings. I think that they should be allowed if the top covers the butt cheeks, along with all tops, jackets, coats, etc., to not hang on the arms and be worn as designed. No tops that show the shoulders should not be allowed. And I did like that we had added a section on smell, hygiene, and perfumes. I think that page 30 of the draft should add no social media during paid time, including on personal cell phones, unless it's specifically village related. And I think that there should be a section for any new employee that may come that explains who's in charge of who, so that the department head is classified for the different positions. For instance, Rusty's position is in charge of the work crew. That way, it's clear cut. Trina or Jennifer can't tell the boys what to do, they have to be told what to do from Rusty. It should be clear cut of who the department heads are and who they're in charge of for any future employees. And we're gonna talk about everything. Those are my suggestions. And I can give you a copy of this since I read off all the sections and everything, if you wanted to read.
There is in the, rough draft that Danny is in charge of the fiscal officer and the police chief
And
and.
Rusty.
Yep.
And Rusty does his
And
life,
Rusty's in charge
and
of
Matt does
those
his
guys.
guys.
And Matt's
So
in
that's
charge of the
clearly stated in the
places
handbook.
in the hand.
I did not locate it, so if it is, then I
It's
just
in there.
It's in there.
would love to see it.
Anyway,
You can always snap me a picture and send it
what
to
was
me.
there? You got that list, you got anything else, we can't take any paper with us.
Well, we were gonna go
We
and talk
were
about that,
talk
but
about that, but we really
based on
can't.
all this stuff, it's gonna have to be rewritten anyway.
Which is fine. The only thing that was on there was the vacation, how we report the vacation at the first of the year, that's when, well, I'm gonna take vacation. Something, to the 25%. We've changed, let's read that, the max out is 250. The rest is going back to. All right, how about staff reports? You got anything, Rusty?
I do a couple things, excuse me, yes. Had to replace the booster pumps up on Hendricks. We put seal kits in them numerous times, they're expensive. Finally, primary pump went out, then the other one, so I had to replace both of those pumps. It was just under $20,000 for both of those pumps. So, I had both replaced 2 weeks ago.
Out of water? Did you say booster?
Yes, those are water.
How much reserve, what's our reserves in water? Because we're gonna be scraping here. He's got well pumps to clean.
What, for the end of this year?
I just wanna know what kind of cash you got in water. Sorry, go ahead.
You're right. Monday I went to the commissioners meeting, pre-construction meeting for, our, catch basin Central Avenue project. And finalized all that stuff. Tuesday, in the field meeting with the contractor, Brumball Excavating, is the one that got the
I've
contract.
seen stakes.
Yep,
I've seen stakes by the,
yeah, there's 50 of them altogether. 18 of them will be rebuilt. 32 of them will be brand new precast catch basins with the type Y, so they'll have a grate out in front and the opening in the curb.
now is that gonna save us any money to rebuild or not?
It did save us some money. Plus, in the beginning, we took on a bunch of extra in-kind work to kind of keep us within budget. So just to let you guys know, the extra in-kind work's gonna keep us busy along with everything else. We're responsible to remove signs, posts, mailboxes. We have to remove all the curbs and sidewalks from Second Street to Depot Street, both sides.
For
Central Avenue project, so
for the central.
that's
east-
curbs and sidewalks.
Oh,
East Central, yeah. Yep, so we're
Okay.
responsible to remove all the sidewalks and curbs.
really?
Aprons, driveway aprons, whatever, alley, cones and barricades. We're gonna provide, the village is gonna provide the barricades and the cones for Brumball. They'll pick them up, they'll move them around, they'll do the labor, we're just providing the barricades for them. We're also gonna backfill and seed and mulch wherever needed when they're finished. So, we took on some extra stuff to kind of keep the budget down so we could get it done. So,
We appreciate that.
we're gonna be busy on top of,
It's not gonna be snow this year, so.
I hope you're right.
I think the last time
Anything-
that was.
anything from
Just a personal thing, I have an old hitching post down there at Central, so I don't know if you're gonna work around it or leave it, but I
Which
sometimes.
is it on this side, Kelly, or on the
On
corner?
that side, it's right there.
It's on the depot
By the
side?
by the gray house.
If it's on the depot side, we won't mess with it. If it's on the
It's
central
on
side,
Central. Something. And Dave, when were you hired in? Cause I want, if we can find the minutes, I'd go back and
It'd be,
correct that.
I think it was March 11.
Of what year?
2011.
Oh, 11, March of 2011. See, how did you remember the
It'd
day?
be 14 years this March, I'll be here.
We appreciate it.
Thank
Please
you.
don't leave.
anything else for me, or anybody?
We're over with water meters.
Same place we were. Ideally,
Well, if we're running a deficit, that's part of our issue.
ideally,
Yeah.
or doesn't, I'm sure, ideally it would be, I mean, like I said, we have all this in-kind work as well. This project has to be completed by March, so there's gonna be a lot for us to do there. So ideally, maybe March, April, May would be a really good time to get them all put in. Otherwise, it's gonna be a really slow process, cause we have so many other things in fire right now to,
Would it be easier to just wait till spring anyway, because there'd be.
weather, you never know what Mother Nature's gonna bring either, you know, we might get, you get 6 inches of snow and you can't find water pits to get in them.
I mean, I understand,
Yeah.
there's been discussion about.
Yeah, but I have everything there and everything's ready.
Until we can get until, that's the cash register.
Yep,
Until it's measuring accurately.
Absolutely. The majority of the ones that have failed are in the trailer park up north, because those are the ones that went in first. So it's, typically it's a 10-year battery life. So we've already had a year and a half of that battery life sitting on skids in the barn.
Well, that's why I keep asking about.
Yeah. So we spent, between the radio read heads, the meter heads, and the new plastic lids we bought to accommodate those new, we've probably got $230,000, $40,000, $50,000 sitting on skids up there. Yeah,
It's higher than that.
yeah. And all of those people, the, like I said, the majority of the failed heads are in the North Trailer Park. And all those people are getting minimum bills.
Right, because you can't.
Yes, right.
And that's what I'm saying, I mean. if
We're
running-
losing money there. Absolutely, yeah.
No, the office, zoning person was waiting on.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, Trina has to get all that set up on her, end, software solutions, Badger, whatever it is, yeah. We put in, what was it, Trina, like 8 or 10 test meters, yeah,
The old software will not read
The old
meters,
software wouldn't read.
so we
So
put
that's gonna be
installing until we get the new software.
Right. All right, anybody got anything else? All right, any old business? We got the, insurance. So we turn it back in, or we gotta let them know. And I would say just keep what we got now. Go for no change, then we can look into it further next year if we think there's a problem with it, but right now,
Well, since they're here, I wanna talk about that. So we're paying $15,000 a month, isn't it, for health insurance? 13 something, almost 14,
That's
yeah.
just one.
almost 14, and I'm sure it'll be 14 by the time we talk about this next. So, my thinking was we could save $55,000 a year if we go to a higher deductible. Now, Trina's telling me that, our legal people wanna look into the issues that surround that. But, saying that we can do that, and I don't know what it entails,
It wouldn't affect them at all. because
that's
we-
what I'm trying to get to. It won't affect you at all. The village will pay the deductible, if it's 5,000, 10,000, whichever one we go with. But if we could save $55,000 a year just by changing the deductible, your benefits, everything would stay the same, nothing would change. If you have a claim and have to meet the deductible, the village then steps in and pays that, because we have the savings. We have, I forget how many, what, $500,000, 5,500, anyway, you get the point. It's self-funding. Now, unless you guys all get sick all at once, and then, you know, then
we are old.
you're on overload. I wasn't gonna say what you said. Especially
Come back.
You guys are all older than me, except for one.
Keep in mind, though, with our current policy, it's maxed at 2,000.
Current policies too.
Mm-hmm,
Can we do that now?
that we're paying ourselves.
I think you guys have any
Before
numbers.
it's 100%.
Wait, say it again.
It's 500, 1,500 max out of pocket per employee before it kicks in at 100%.
So you're paying the 2,000.
First 2,000, yeah,
I didn't know that.
yes. It's not 100% off the gate.
Why, I always thought it was a very low deductible, but it's a little higher
It's
than I thought.
500/15.
Gotcha. Okay, I didn't know that. So that's good, in the sense that, if we do this next year, we could say, keep that the same. That's, would be reasonable.
If we could lower our monthly premiums.
Yeah.
$14,000
Yeah.
a month.
My deductible, mine's 10,000. But it took my premium next to nothing, but I don't have anything fancy. Anyway, that's what I do. So
Well, I'd like to have a motion on that if we could.
okay, I make a motion, we keep everything the same and with caveat that we research, pursuing a higher deductible. But it wouldn't affect you guys.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion? Roll call.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Judy?
Yeah.
Lizzie?
Yeah.
Joe?
Yeah.
All right, any other old business?
I already brought it up a little bit when she was talking, but the record request, I have some questions that I wanted to bring up. So I'm on there understanding that these records, she's busy. And as a council member, I was first told that I could go and look at records and it would be fine. And then I was told to not. It was advised to me to not go in there and request to look at them to schedule it. But I still have not been able to after 86 days, but it has come to my knowledge, and I have physically witnessed it, that our clerk of courts has the ability to go in there and do things in the fiscal office that is Trina's tasks, and that entails taking records into her office to help Trina. So I would like it to be looked into and figure out a solution for why a clerk of courts has more access to records than a sitting council member after 86 days of waiting. When all I need to do is
Well, that would
look
be-
at the records while I'm in this building and not even bother her other than her handing me a folder. So if that could be looked into, I'd
Well,
appreciate
it'd be
it.
more than handing you a folder, which you'd have to dig out. Some of the stuff that you asked for is probably in the basement in boxes.
It's been in 86 days, nothing was found.
And you haven't had any reply.
I keep getting a reply,
She
well,
wants the same
eventually I
thing
quit.
that everybody else wants, Visa and Amazon. Everybody wants Visa and Amazon because they think I'm buying stuff personally on those accounts. That's what it boils down to.
But I mean, this was from September 24th. And I've not had a response in a long time. I've checked in a time or two, haven't heard anything. I waited, because after a conversation with you, you said she's busy. So,
Well, being busy is not.
right, you said it would get looked into. So I was wondering if you could look into that.
Did you not, when you hired Jennifer, ask her to help in the?
It's to assist. And I'm allowed to say.
And that's fine. She
And that was
consented,
advised to
but-
me by our attorney.
But if she's assisting, then I should be able to look at records that I would like to look at.
I got something, I've been in the basement getting light bulbs and ladders and doing stuff. That door in the basement where all the files has been open every time and I've shut it. Cause all of our numbers is in there, anybody could get in that basement can get our numbers.
Well, why is the door not secure?
I don't know if Trina goes down there and gets stuff and don't shut it.
Which door are you talking about?
The door with all the files, the room that I built in the basement.
Oh, this outside door, so what are
No,
you
no,
talking
no,
about?
the one in the basement. But I mean, you know, these cops, they do K-9 stuff down there, they do all kinds of stuff.
I've walked in and
I
out of the
mean-
basement to get things, and I mean, you don't even stop at the door, you just walk in.
Now
there.
granted,
But
the
it's-
back door and the side door of the basement will be locked.
The outside is locked.
Yeah.
You see them come in and put this,
But anybody could pop through.
it's not a question that could happen.
Why don't we change that to a key code?
Just a security issue as far as our numbers, I mean,
I mean, I've shut it down.
That'd be a good idea. Change it to a key code like that.
That way, just certain people have the.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it should be her deal, with
Yeah.
the code, not us.
And just have good habit of closing doors.
Very good.
and the other thing is if somebody got in there and got something that she has to have for an audit or something, it's gone. Cause that's.
Now that everything's going on a stick, so it's not, it's
Oh, really?
not like it used to be. We're not doing things that way anymore.
Okay.
Point well taken.
Everything's electronic.
And the auditor took a lot of boxes from downstairs.
Maybe the
Yeah,
auditor,
back here.
maybe the auditor was.
Good.
Yeah, that's what
I don't know, I just wanted to let you guys know.
Is
that.
it a repeated problem, or is it just?
I
a
did it
one-time
twice
thing?
and Tyler shut it the other day.
I mean, it's really just a little handle lock, which,
Deadbolt.
it's not very secure.
It's
Yeah, I
a-
think a push
But I
code would
mean,
be way
yeah.
more secure.
We can do that.
Those
We
are
can
like
change the doorknob.
$90 at most.
We can do that.
I didn't do anything. I haven't opened my mouth yet, but give me time.
Okay. Any new business?
Did we change our hours? Or is the office still open till 4:30? Because, apparently the door is locked sometime between 4 and 4:15. So if we're gonna change the hours, we can change them. If, if we're gonna be open till 4:30, somebody needs to be here till 4:30 and not leave early, because it's a habitual problem. It's been brought up, dozens of times this year that I've worked here, and I've just kind of excused it. And I know that there was one incident, I was sitting here reading, and I heard the door get closed and locked, and walked past the window, and I was like, oh, it must be later. And it was 4:15, and the front door was locked, and the fiscal officer was left. So if we're gonna change it, let's change it, but if we're not, then someone needs to be available just in case someone comes in that extra 15 minutes.
I personally don't think that, we should have to post the hours changed all the time, but if you could just put something on the door saying, you know, because something might come up, you know, we all have emergencies, we might have to leave a few minutes early or whatever, and
I
Right?
got one more thing.
Yeah.
We're out on the street, marking and painting lines, doing this with these guys. I've had 4 or 5 people come up to me and it's either water bills or the credit card. The credit card machine, they can't pay a water bill with the credit card no more.
You're not allowed to handle a credit card.
I think that's against the law.
the,
How many times, I was told today that she can't handle credit cards no more.
The clerk of courts was handling credit cards.
How many times,
She's not supposed to
Physically.
physically handle the card.
They can stamp set it up so that
Let
the
me
card
ask
can
you
be
this.
read in the window.
Stamp the
how many
certificate
times,
up right now, so
how many
that they
times
can
did
get
any of you
cards.
guys go out and you hand that lady that credit
I
card?
know.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
Just
Not
not
anymore.
anymore.
I'm
Not
just saying,
anymore.
You know what I'm saying? I mean,
This
it's,
is what the attorney told us.
Yeah.
and as far as somebody calling in and providing their credit card number, I know this from the hotel business. Because that line is recorded,
right,
you can't take a credit card over the phone.
I kinda see that,
Because
cause you never know who's on the other end, yeah.
We need to be careful because I know that there has been people that have come to me, older people,
Well,
that say
that's
that
what I was
they give
getting
her
at.
the water bill and their card and she makes an online payment. So if she can take the card for an online payment, she can take the
Well,
card.
she can't do that anymore.
Which I know,
Does the village plan to provide the, equipment for the customer to swipe their own card? That's
And we're
incoming, that's
gonna
coming.
do that. That's what the little stand's out there for.
Oh, I see.
I've not been there for a reason.
3 or 4 of those people that's talked to me have been older people, kinda like her dad that can't get out and do that. I know she probably does it for him, but they can't get out and do that.
I understand.
You know what I mean? I mean, to get to where they
Well,
can't move.
and that's why with the, if we go to the billing service can handle all that. Because you can go online to pay that.
Is that billing service postponed until we get the meters done? Is that what we're waiting for?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're waiting till
Because
we
we can't
can
get-
read the meters with the.
We
Right.
can't read meters.
Cause it was asked of me by somebody and that's the answer I said, I assume it's because we're gonna be replacing all these meter heads so that once the meters are finished, that project, then we can do.
Until the meters go in, that's dead.
Alright, I wanna go back to something you were talking about, about being here, not being here, leaving, not leaving, whatever. And it's gonna sound like I'm picking on you guys, but I'm gonna make a point. Do you know what time they leave every day, Lizzie? Yes or no?
I know that.
Yes or no? Do you or
When
not?
I've been at the garage,
Alright,
they've
so
not
now-
left that garage until 4:30,
Okay.
every single time I've been there.
Alright, but my point is,
We're never bugging our guys.
Because
Oh,
sometimes
listen,
it's
no,
just to
wait,
give
wait, hold
Christmas
on.
presents.
my
show
point is,
appreciation.
I'm tired of the one-sided scrutiny that's right there. And I get it, someone's hired to do a job, they're supposed to be here when they open, when they close, and everything in between. But to make another point, I remember there was this big brouhaha about her wanting to go to the grand opening over there at Midship. Remember?
Oh yeah, that's when you told me to shut the fuck up on text. I remember that.
Did I say that?
Oh, he said STUF, just for clarification, which stands for, just for.
But my point is this. You know, Rusty was there. Did you ask Rusty if he was taking time off to go?
I did ask Rusty and I said, you're here. And he said, well, Dan came to me this morning and invited us.
So, but you see my point. Do you see my point at all? That there's all this, we don't know, I don't know what Nelson's doing 9 times out of 10 times. I mean, I don't know.
You don't
Do you
either.
know what, I mean, Nelson does the.
I didn't wanna start an argument, but the employees over there have been at the gas station 6 or 7 times a day. I've seen them, they go right by my house.
We get free coffee.
Get free coffee and gas and.
But if I
Well, my
have,
point
if I have a problem
gas
with
station
We're gonna
6 or
do it
7
on one
times a
person,
day.
we're
Do you
gonna
see
do it
the
down
point?
board.
If I have a,
Do
if
you
I
see
have
the
a
point?
complaint, do
Do
you
you
want me to
see-
answer or not? If
Well,
I
I
have
mean-
a complaint about the work crew, then I go to Rusty and I say, Rusty, what the hell are you doing? Why do I got Tyler out here yabbering when he
That's
can't
really
talk?
not your job.
I can't do that to
That's
children.
not your
You should give
job.
that to him.
I mean, I can, cause I'm a council member and
No,
Rusty has and
you
I'm expecting you to be like,
understand
yeah,
the
Russian
difference?
get
wants
it.
to make.
Do you understand the
Then
difference?
work
Are you
the rest.
able to understand the difference, or do I have to draw you a picture?
The
I don't
difference
think
of
so.
what? Donald Duran? That she gets free reign to do whatever she wants, but they're held at a higher standard? No,
It's
I
just
don't
the
understand.
opposite. There is no standard. These guys are free rangers going, they're all
And they're
corners of the
getting
planet.
shit done. I'm not getting complaints, the shit's not getting done, but I am getting complaints that water bills are not getting delivered, and people's lived here 3-4 months. Read a Facebook post.
Yeah, out of the eight
But
people.
on the,
You know,
First of all,
it's
bills
just,
don't
being
take anything
delivered,
on
mailed
Facebook
in the
serious.
mail,
We're
and
not
I
charging
know
you, right?
personally that I cut a check for the church on the 7th of November, and Trina brought it to my attention that she just got it in the mail.
And she
before la-
didn't, and she didn't.
Excuse me, I'm speaking. She just got it the day before our last council meeting. I had cut it on November the 7th. It was mailed. I can't help it if it takes forever for the mail to
And we
get
didn't
out.
get ours. I mean, the mail is bad.
The mail is bad. But
I
when you
wrote a
ask the
check to a
post
lady-
office, the post office says she didn't drop it off until the first week of December.
I wrote a check to a lady on October 15th, sent it to the address she gave me. She just got it, a week ago.
So how
So
do
is
you
that
explain the
Trina's
post
fault?
office
I guess
saying
Trina
she
probably
didn't
had something to do with
deliver
that, didn't she?
until-
Alright, this is going nowhere.
Yeah, well, nowhere is exactly where we're at.
Any new business? Any other business? Alright, approval of the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve our minutes. A second.
I'll do the roll call. Kelly?
What'd you ask me?
Minutes. Okay.
Yay.
Judy?
Yay.
Lizzie?
Yay,
Jeff?
Yeah.
Laura?
yay.
Payroll?
Make a motion to pay roll.
I second that.
Roll call. Kelly?
Yay.
Judy?
Yay.
Lizzie?
Yay.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Laura?
Yay.
Purchase orders and invoices.
I make a motion that we approve purchase orders, that we pay our bills.
I second that.
Kelly?
Yeah.
Judy?
Yay.
Lizzie?
Yay.
Jeff?
Yeah.
Laura?
Yay.
Alright.
Make a motion to adjourn?
I had something to say, but you guys listened to all that, and I didn't get to say what I wanted to say. Cause I signed in so I couldn't speak.
Okay.
I can't go up there because of the smell. I'm allergic to perfume. So I'll sit back here and I'll just talk louder. Anyhow, now that the gas station, Marathon gas station has closed off Douglas, you know, we have to go up the hill and back down the hill. Okay. Everybody on Hendricks, on the west side of 127, have driveways. The other morning, the road was slick, and I hit a patch of ice. I didn't hit a car, but there's just a narrow path between those cars early in the morning. And I would like to see a sign be put up there, parking on one side of the street only. I never got my yellow sign, my yellow stripes put on there. There's a school bus now getting dropped off at the top of the hill, dropping the kids off for Hendricks. There's no signs or anything that the school bus stops here, or nothing. And I was promised a year and a half ago that I would get the line painted on each side of the road,
Did you get?
so people did not park so close to,
There's a site visit
another
session.
25.
Marcy will go look and see, will you?
Yeah, I'll check on it.
Because it does make it tight when people park there.
I don't know about the parking on one side or another, that's something that we can,
Well,
how often?
You
does that-
can't get two cars
There's
up and
two
down
lanes,
Hendricks early morning or late night when they're on both sides when the people are home. They don't park in their driveways, they park on the street, and then you can't get up and down that Hendricks. It really, I mean, it only affects the people who live on Hendricks or on Douglas.
yeah.
Is it, I don't mean to disagree with, but is it,
It's really bad. I'll just go through the gas station, and they'll just have to yell at me.
I was gonna say, is it like, I mean, when I drive down Lafayette Street, if
It's
there's.
about
a
the
Yeah,
sign,
you got
I
more.
gotta pull into a park, you know, an open
Yeah.
spot, let that car come down the street, then I
It's
go
like,
it's
it's
like
like,
all over town.
Judy, if I stop and there's a car on this side of me and a car on this side of me, one's going this way and one's going this way, there's about this much difference between my car and their car
Okay.
on each side.
How much do you need?
Nothing when it's dry, if there's ice on the road, I'm
That's
gonna,
enough.
you don't want me to go there, Kelly.
No, I had to dip in on the way down here on Main Street.
I mean, it's just really bad to do there.
I think we probably have a lot of people upset if you did that, so utilize that. I don't know if there'd be
Well,
enough
would they be
parking.
upset that I don't want them parking there, or that I take out the side of their car?
That's a different question. I don't know, let's have Rusty have a look, Rusty, but
I made a motion, nobody seconded it.
Who?
Nobody.
I'll second. Well, we didn't do a second because Georgia.
Yeah. That's right. Okay.
Thank you, Dave.
Keep going with Lauren.
whatever it is I say, yay.
Okay.
Okay.
Judy?
Yay.